Hi everybody, Jared Johnson here. Let's have a look at what's going on in the stock market this week. It's a news-heavy week for sure. We have the Fed tomorrow, which is going to be wild. There's a lot of news coming out of the Fed, like they're not excited about the impact that higher interest rates have had, which is not what they had hoped. They had hoped they were really going to squash everything and bring inflation back and so on. And it's raised some questions about what the Fed might actually do later. I think the market has moved quite a bit away from interest rate cuts to what else can we do kind of a thing. So that's got the market concerned just a little bit. But let's talk about what we're looking at here, union hedge funds and so on, how things are kind of shaking out. There is quite a spread of stocks right now, and I feel like this is different than other times. We had this big market crash in 2022. Some stocks have made big comebacks, some haven't. And the stocks that haven't, I want to talk about some of the reasons why I think these are some great opportunities for us to jump in and get a little piece of the action. So let me talk about one of my favorite stocks right now and where I think there, could be some opportunity and something for us to do coming up here. Let's look at this little guy right here. This is Square or Block, SQ. So SQ has been kind of all over the place, right? If we look over here, we can see, these are some highs right here. This is, February 21. This is August 21. So kind of we saw these highs at, almost the $300 mark. And a lot of the tech stocks, really peaked out kind of mid to later 21, and then they just fell off a cliff, right? So we saw that Square, had a drop here of about 80%, all the way into this little low right here of about 86%. So we see these lows, this right here is October 2022 right there. This is October 2023. The stock has just been crushed. I got involved back here a little bit. I had to ride some pain down through some of this, but made some really, really good money on buying some dips and just kind of staying with it. I closed out my Square. I don't have any Square holdings right now. But I think that it's going to be an interesting one to see how it plays out. We saw, a rally off the lows, about 125% or so, and it's just kind of creeping back in here. I drew just these lines so that we can have a better feel for kind of this 50-60% channel that has just been in play for about 2 years. This takes us back to May 2022, and we're just past May 2024. So 2 years, this thing has been sideways and doing nothing. And I think we have some really good opportunity coming up on this one, and I'm getting pretty interested in it. A couple of things that I would think about and look at here on a Square is if we look at a few of the details that I think are pretty interesting. This right here, this is Block's. I know I'm interchangeably using Square and Block. Their stock symbol reminds me of Square, but their parent company is Block, and it still is Square as far as the cash processing app and so on. Anyway, here's we're looking at a couple of different things. First of all, stock buybacks. They've been buying back their stock a little bit the last couple of quarters. That's interesting to me. We had about a $150 million stock buyback, a $250 million stock buyback. And when they start buying back stocks, that's typically, can be pretty positive for stock price, right? So as these stock buybacks have been happening, the stock has kind of been coming down just a little bit, which I think is interesting. If we look at a couple of other things here, one thing that I like to look at is this chart right here. This is price to free cash flow. So we've seen, this is December of last year, so a couple of quarters back, cash flow was going down. Price was actually going up a little bit. But typically when free cash flow goes up, price tends to, follow that to some degree. And we are seeing this starting to spike again, and the price is still lagging a little bit. So I'm keeping an eye on this. I think that's interesting. I think another thing that's interesting here is, where is my, so look at PE ratios. Now, I don't live and die by PE ratios. I think they're something to keep a half of an eye on. And so we'll do that. We'll keep an eye on it here. But if we look at like the last 5 years, the PE for SQ right now is all the way back to those October 2023 lows. Remember, we looked at those right here. That's our October 2023 lows. PE ratios back down to that, and that's pretty crazy. This is creeping up on 2 standard deviations below the mean. So look at we're on what are we on, the 5-year? We're on the 5-year PE ratio outlook here. We're almost 2 standard deviations below the mean PE of the last 5 years. If we look at a little bit more, I mean, we're beyond 2 standard deviations below that 10-year PE ratio mean right there. And even if we look at the 1 year, I mean, we're still well beyond. So PE ratios are way undervalued. Even if we just look at something, really simple as where has price been? Where is we looked at free cash flow, gross profits. This is another one that that I like to look at. Look at our gross profits, just steadily on the up and up. The last couple of years, gross profits have been going up. Here's 2022, 2023 so far. Gross profits have been going higher while price has been going down or staying flat, right? I just feel like there's so much here that makes me pretty optimistic about where this stock is. If we look at here's the last 5 years once again. Median stock price of the last 5 years, about $77, give or take. Currently sitting in the low 60s. Highs, 280-ish. Lows, $38. We're certainly in the bottom third of kind of the last 5 years. And even if we go kind of last 10 years here, we're really kind of just right in the middle of those highs and lows. So I think there's a lot of potential for something to happen here. I really like SQ. I think that there is quite a bit of potential with a stock like this to do something interesting. The lower this goes, the more I get interested in it. I don't have anything on it personally or in my fund or anything in that space. It's big time on the radar. The lower this goes, if we were to see a double bottom, something along these lines right here, that gets me just that much more interested in it. Because even if that's all we saw, right? If this tests October levels, which, is possible, and then it runs back up to just these channel highs, that's, once again, that's 125% gain that we could be in on without this stock even really doing anything. But if this stock takes off and makes some moves and we start seeing this back moving towards the $100 mark, even if we get back up towards kind of these March 2022 levels, that's almost 150. I mean, there's so much potential with this stock, and it's starting to get profitable. It's starting to show some profitability. It's still sitting at this current stock price, I think 70 some percent off highs. 70, I mean, geez, it's almost 80% off highs at current stock price right now. So I like this stock. I think it's interesting. I think it's a solid company. I think it's the one to watch right now. So I'm keeping an eye on this. As everyone gets worried about stock market crashes and things really taking a dip, I would be a little more concerned about stocks that are, at or above all-time highs than stocks that are sitting around multi-year lows. I always feel better about something that's already crashed. When a crash comes, it's like, okay. But anyway, I'm keeping an eye on this. There could be some increased volatility certainly coming with the Fed, but I really like this stock. I like this setup, and I think it is very much on my radar. So I'm keeping an eye on it. Good luck, everybody. If you have any questions, leave comments below the video, on the post, anything. I'm happy to chat. But I think we have some potential. I think there's something worth looking at here. But again, just my ideas, just my thoughts. Certainly not making any trade recommendations. All right, good luck, everybody. Happy trading. We'll see you all soon.